Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. We welcome you all for today's webinar on the topic, Flexo more than just an alternative. Packaging MEA is glad to host this webinar in association with print for packaging industry leaders, including Corning & Barr, Ferrerini & Benini, Gamma International, Graphic Control, Praxair, as well as packaging converters IPAC and HotPack from the United Arab Emirates. Today, we will be discussing how Flexo has evolved and grown as a print process in the flexible packaging print and conversion space. This webinar is particularly going to help brand owners and flexible packaging printers and converters to gain valuable insight and understanding of the Flexo process, while it will also clear some of the myths and questions that you might have as you consider your move towards Flexo press investment. So my name is Ben Daniel and I'm the editor of Packaging Middle East and Africa magazine. For those of you who are not very familiar with Packaging MEA, we are the region's B2B publication and we focus on packaging and all of its fulfillment. So we have verticals within our magazine which covers the online portal, and we have a print platform. We also have packaging summits and webinars and other verticals as well. So if you can go into our website and look, you can get all the details. So these are some of the verticals which covers right from innovation and design all the way up to the shelf. So we cover all the 9 important verticals in the packaging value chain, and we have a strong editorial team who represent and contribute from around the world for our publication. So for today's topic of Flexo as a print process, we're going to go into the details. Before that, I just want to give some regional and global trends of packaging in general, and then we can get a couple of slides to go through some details of flexible packaging and Flexo print process in particular. Looking at this slide, we understand that the MENA region, and particularly the Middle East and Africa in general, is growing much more faster than the global packaging market growth. If you can see, the CAGR of 5% that we find here in the MENA region is above the global CAGR, so which is a very encouraging point for all the people in our region to note. And some key trends and drivers in the MENA region for our growth, obviously it's the high economic activity and the growing population, development of retail infrastructure, increased investment in food production and processing. All these 4 points primarily is predominantly found within the Middle East and Africa region, and particularly in the Gulf region, where Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates are having the maximum share of growth in terms of food and food processing and packaging production. So if you see those 3 points which I have highlighted in red, significant investments in new flexible packaging converting facility, that's happening very much within the region. And we have also increased availability of local produce and competitively priced base substrates. That is a huge advantage for us in the region. And obviously, food represents the largest end-use sector for the packaging products in our region. So these are all encouraging trends and drivers which are helping the packaging industry in general, and in particular the flexible packaging industry to grow. And for looking to today's point of discussion, why Flexo packaging print and conversion is on the spotlight. So obviously rotogravure has been ruling the flexible print for packaging space for many decades, and especially for the past 15 years or so. Slowly but surely, Flexo as a technology has grown. And we can see today Flexo growing to such an extent that in some of the regions which we are going to see in the next slide, it has overtaken Roto much higher. So cost, quality, sustainability, these are the 3 things which we're going to see in today's webinar through our expert panelists. And multiple SKUs and short runs, these are all the demands from the brand owners, due to which Flexo is getting more and more popular. and some global trends within the Flexo print process. That's the $164 billion is the value of this industry around the world, with a 2.6% CAGR expected in the next 5 years. So if you look at the divide between Flexo and Roto as a process, North America, Europe, and Asia, and Middle East and Africa, they are so much different. So obviously, North America being a very mature market for the past 15 to 20 years, we could see a great transition happening from Roto to Flexo, where Flexo has taken over almost 80% of the share. 80% of the flexible packaging print is in Flexo now, which is a great achievement in North America. And in Europe, it used to be driven by Roto, but now there's a balance and there's a more move towards Flexo. In Asia, it's just the opposite of what we find in North America, because of the higher volumes and because of the population and the demand. So Roto is still running high, and the demand for Roto is pretty high. But having said that, Flexo is growing as well at a much faster pace, and we are able to see all these Roto gravure printers who already have these gravure presses. They are investing in Flexo presses as to complement their the long-run jobs. The long-run jobs run on the Roto, whereas the short-run jobs with multiple SKUs, they try and do it with Flexo. To hear about this more, we will have our panelists who will share their thoughts, obviously. And dwelling on the last but not least, the most important region, which is the Middle East and Africa region, it's again the same, just like Asia, where Roto is ruling, but then we are seeing a lot of Flexo investments happening for the past 2 to 3 years. Almost every other major flexible packaging printer has invested or almost is in the process of investing in a CI press. So that's really encouraging. Right, so now I want to just introduce a very exciting panel of speakers in our midst this evening. Unlike other webinars, this one is a unique one where we will just have a panel discussion with some experts who are here in our midst. So starting with Claudia Benelli, she's the general manager for Ferrarini and Benelli, Italy. So Ferrarini and Benelli designs and manufactures stations for corona surface treatment and plasma 3D treatment. So Claudia, welcome for our webinar. Hello, Claudia. Hi. So we also have Giuseppe, who is the area sales director for Asia, Middle East, and Africa for Gamma International Italy. So Gamma International is a worldwide solution provider of ink quality control products and other ancillary products for flexible packaging, Flexo and gravure presses. Hello, Giuseppe, welcome.
Thank you.
Hello. And we also have Paolo Di Grandis, who is the director for graphic control. Graphic control produces a 360-degree total quality control through specialized systems for packaging, print, and conversion equipment. That includes Flexo, gravure, offset digital, as well as film extrusion. Welcome, Paolo.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon. And we also have Tito, who is the Analogs quality and customer support lead for Praxis Surface Technologies, Italy. Praxis Surface Technologies, a Lind company, is a global leader in manufacturing and engraving of analog scrolls. Hello, Tito, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. And we have Stefano Paiano, who is the regional sales director for Koning & Bohr, Italy. And Koning & Bohr is a leading manufacturer of CI Flexo presses for printing on film, paper, and other flexible packaging materials. Welcome, Stefano.
Ciao, Ben. Hello to everybody.
Yes, and we also have Romeo Bandini, who is the general manager for IPAC Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. IPAC is a producer of aseptic packaging material in the United Arab Emirates. The factory produces aseptic packaging for a range of products such as milk, juices, cheese, tomato paste, and many other things. And he's going to share all of those details today with us. Welcome, Romeo.
Hello, Ben, and welcome everybody. Good afternoon.
And we also have Dharmesh Zaveri, who is the general manager for Hotpack Packaging LLC, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Hotpack Global is a packaging converter recognized as a leader in both the manufacture and supply of food packaging products. Today, the company has a presence in 25 locations across the Middle East, UK, and a chain of network in other Gulf and African countries. Welcome, Dharmesh.
Hello, everybody, and good afternoon.
We also have in our midst my colleague from Packaging Middle East and Africa, our technology editor, Vikram Photidar, who is also with me, and he will also be sharing his views about the industry which he passionately works in. Welcome, Vikram.
Sorry.
Welcome, Vikram.
Hi, Ben. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. So, gentlemen, without much ado, during this 90 minutes of webinar, we will be hearing from all these experts whom I introduced you now, and they will be giving all of us why Flexo is much more than just an alternative. They're going to share with us their insights. And before we get into the panel discussion now, a little bit of housekeeping for all our attendees and for all of us. Right. So following our panel discussion, which is going to start now, we will have a time reserved for your questions and Q&A session. So, gentlemen, ladies, you can just key in your questions in the control panel that you find on the right top corner of your GoToWebinar link. You can send your questions during the course of the entire webinar, and we'll be glad to address them to the panel. We will conclude the webinar with a final recap and summary from Packaging MEA Technology Editor Vikram Photidar. So let's get started with the first question to the panelists over here. Just a moment. Since the topic of this webinar is Flexo more than an alternative, let us take a look at one of the most important aspects of this technology, which is a machine manufacturer. In this case, we are going to ask Koning & Boer, Regional Sales Director Stefano is here in our midst. Stefano, I'd like to start this panel with a question to you. Why should brand owners and flexible packaging printers and converters consider CI Flexo technology over rotogravure? If you can share your thoughts, please.
Yes, of course, Ben. First of all, thank you very much for your introduction and for the opportunity to stay here with you. I'm very glad to share our experience with our partners and with you. Let me, before replying to your question, please, let me just share some information concerning Koning & Boer and Koning & Boer Flexotecnica. So Koning & Boer is an international group with more than 200 years of experience in printing industry. We are more than 5,500 employees in the world with 11 different production plants. We are located in Germany, Italy, Czech Republic, Austria, Spain, and so on. And in more than 100 countries, we are present with service department, sales office, after sales office. Flexotecnica is an Italian company located in Milan with more, please, Ben, next one, please. Located in Milan, and we have more than 40 years of experience in designing and manufacturing central impression printing machines. Here, I just put on this slide the product that our customer can print using Koning & Boer group machines. For example, corrugated product, we can propose coding devices, sheet fed and web offset machine for newspaper, magazine, catalogs, printing machine for different types of container like metal, glass, and plastic containers. Printing machine for books, of course, flexible packaging machine, Flexo machine for flexible packaging, labeling machines, and banknotes. Just for information, 95% of the banknotes that you can find worldwide is printed using Koning & Boer group. But let me come back now to your question related to the growth popularity of central impression Flexo press in the last years. I'd like to share with you the feedback that we got from our customers and then from the market. I'd like to mention three different reasons. The first one is flexibility. Flexibility means the big opportunity to use the Flexo printing machine with different types of inks, not only solvent, but also water-based inks or UV, can be traditional one or UV LED inks, EB inks, and a hybrid solution. Hybrid means the possibility to use the same machine with a combination of different types of solution. But flexibility means also the possibility to use to print different types of substrate. So not only flexible packaging, plastic films, but also paper on the same machine, alufoil starting from 12 microns, and no movement. Then our customers can offer a big product portfolio, like materials, flexible packaging for food, snacks, and beverage, paper and plastic bags, paper cups and trays, gift paper, wallpaper, plastic wrap, no movement. Nowadays, for example, with the mask, board safety container, and paperboard film. This one is the first benefit, but now there is another important benefit that I want to share with you. Next one, please, is the productivity and efficiency. In more than 40 years, we introduced in the market many high technology features on our machine. And why? Because today, as you know, printing technology, Flexo printing technology concept is very close to short run. So by these two systems, these two devices, we reduced the minimum the downtime of job change. The first one is the wash-up system, Speedy Clean. This system is automatic wash-up system that allows to our customers to wash up completely the machine in less than 4 minutes. And then in many cases, the customer needs also to switch the machine from solvent to water or from water-based inks to solvent-based inks. And then we can supply additional systems, independent washing inking system. In this case, the customer needs not more than 2 hours for the complete switch. The second device that we introduce is Printronic. Printronic is Flexo Technica patented and is the automatic impression setting that we can supply on our machine. In less than 6 minutes and guaranteeing not more than 30 meters of material waste, all the pressure between the drum and the plates are completely set. Then these two systems, and with many other features, can allow our customer to reduce the downtime. And then for this reason, Flexo today concept is very close to short run. The third reason, the third benefit that I want to mention is the sustainability. Today, Koenig & Bauer for Koenig & Bauer, sustainability is one of the key drivers in the packaging industry. And how is Koenig & Bauer Flexo Technica improving the sustainability in the Flexo technology today? I can mention just 3 ways. The first one is developing by strong cooperation with many partners and a supplier, new technology and processes, creating bio-based and biodegradable plastic packaging. The second one is improving a continuous lightweighting of material in order to achieve the same performance, but using less materials. The third way is pushing in the market the use of barrier protection coating by some downstream installed in line, and also pushing the use of water-based instead of solvent, UV LED, Flexo presses, and hybrid solution. Just to remember that Flexo Technica was the first company in the world that introduced the hybrid machine. Hybrid, I mean the machine designed to accept water-based and solvent-based inks meantime. And then what about green? So how can we take care of the environment technically? So I can mention just 3 different points that we can offer today with our machine: the lowest emission, noise, and consumption. We optimize the inks and solvent use, and we minimize the materials waste in the last years.
Right. Thank you, Stefano. I think that was a great insight that you have shared with us. I also have another question for you with regards to the most important part of our discussion today for many converters here. We all know packaging industry has been changing constantly. This change is not limited to sustainability and flexibility, something which you very clearly explained us now, but also to the organizational changes, right? Primarily to produce a high quality product at a competitive price. That's the biggest challenge we have in our region and around the globe also. So my question to you, Stefano, is what approach has Koning & Boer Flexo Technica taken to meet the constant request of industrial analytics? If you can share with us, please.
Yeah, of course. Koning & Boer Flexo Technica strongly believe that the industrial analytics has never been as important as nowadays. I prepared just these 2 slides for you. In this way, I can explain that in all our machine recently, we introduced the new BPM system. This device can easily monitor all the process data collected from the several sensors that we installed in all our machines. Then the customer can easily display all the production data, all the information concerning printing, concerning production, so on. And then, as we said before, the customer can analyze all this information to optimize the process, to reduce the production costs. And just to be more technical, I want just to list the information that you can get on our machine. If you can show the next, please, Ben.
Sure.
So, utilizing our software today, the customer can collect all the information on the consumption of inks, the energy consumption, compressed air, waste, and solvent. And another important thing is that all the data can be collected, but also managing not only on the company software or company computer, but also on the normal devices that we use nowadays, like a tablet and smartphone.
Right, right, brilliant. Thank you so much, Stefano, for your insights. So moving forward, what we're going to do now is we're going to invite 2 of our very important regional speakers or panelists in our midst, starting with Romeo Bandini, who's a general manager at IPAC Abu Dhabi. Hello, Romeo. Romeo, I have
Hello,
hello, hi. I have to say that it's going to be an interesting session today because we have suppliers from Italy and from Europe, and we have from our region, from Dubai and Abu Dhabi, yourself and Dharmesh. So it's going to be interesting to see how we are going to have a balance of both experience. One is from the end user with Flexo, and other is the manufacturer. So moving into your experience, Romeo, you have a world of experience with print for packaging, right? Especially with both rotogravure as well as CI Flexo, with your previous job experience on the rotogravure and inline Flexo, yes. And now you made a very challenging or a very challenging move towards CI Flexo for aseptic print. So please take us through your experience and your thoughts on why Flexo is more than just an alternative according to you, and also a proven technology to be reckoned with for our Middle Eastern Africa regional printers and converters. Over to you,
as I shared with you earlier, as you know, I started my career actually with the biggest multinational company in the aseptic packaging, and at that time in Italy, where I started, we had both rotogravure and Flexo. Then later I moved also into a factory in Taiwan where we even had offset printing. Now, right. When we invested, maybe if you go to the next slide. By the way, yes. Welcome to, since now you are with me and we are in IPAC. Just let me first give a little bit of introduction who we are and what we do. Sure. Okay, so at IPAC, we are the first privately owned producer of aseptic packaging material here in the UAE. And we produce only aseptic packaging, but for a range of different products like milk, juice, cheese, tomato paste, and others. So it is critical for us, since we the package will be shown in front of the consumer, and the consumer in the supermarket has to pick the best, the brightest, or the one with a better image. It's important that we print in the right way and our packages stand out. Okay. On top of it, the quality is important, because when you pack milk, you have to consider that milk will be inside the package without preservatives for almost up to a year. Okay, so it's important that we have a high level of quality and automation in the factory.
Yeah.
And at IPAC, we strive to provide aseptic packaging that meets the international standards to customers across the Middle East, North Africa, and other markets. Now we are actually opening up also into India, into Europe, and so on. And we are using only the highest quality raw material, and we are positioned to be a pioneer in exceptional packaging solutions. So said that, can go please to the next slide. We started only in 2016. So it was when I came here, I came actually as a consultant. I was helping to design the factory. And I like this project from the start because the investors didn't want to cut corners, and they gave us basically a mandate to invest in the best technology to be able to serve the market. And when it came to automation, I will show you a slide later. We basically have adopted the latest automation for everything. And when it came to printing, we had no basically discussion. We went straight to Flexo CI. So for us, especially, and our bet at that time was to introduce Flexo CI with 7 color separation, so with Equinox. And that has proven to be a winning bet, because the more we have used the 7 color separation, we have reduced the number of inks that we use, we have improved our printing quality, and we have been more flexible, and we've reduced our cost. So everything came together. So we have used the latest technology, and we have been successful, as the numbers can see, because in 2017, in 1 year after we started our first production, 1 year after the groundbreak, in November 2017, we were participating at Gulfood for the first time. Just a few months later, already in April and May, we managed to get all these IMS and BRC certifications. And by the end of 2018, we had already sold more than 1 billion packs. And then 2019 we doubled that, and 2020, in spite of the pandemic, we almost tripled what we started with. So we have a history of growth, and by the way, because of our growth path, we have just invested in a new printing press that has just been installed and is currently running. And again, it was another CI Flexo. I mean, a bit more powerful, a bit faster, because now we got even more excited. Okay, but again, same technology, CI Flexo with the 7 color separation.
Yeah, thank you.
If you can go to the next slide. So just to show you a little bit a highlight of our factory, this is basically where we are. You can see on the top left, basically the LGVs. So all our warehouse is managed by these automated guided vehicles. So all the machines, basically the system is all integrated. On the right, you actually see only, on the top right corner, you see only 1 printing press. Today we have 2. But basically the factory is very optimized. You have 2 printing presses, 1 laminator, and the slitting area. And the warehouse is also serving directly to the factory. And everything is managed, basically, all the transportation, all the incoming goods, it's all managed electronically. So we've invested in we have 2 KUKA robots, and at the moment 4 + 1 on the way, + 1 LGV coming for the next year, for the end of this year.
Right.
Maybe, so this actually is where we are in terms of technology. As I said, we use the latest technology in printing, high printing quality, 8 color CI printers, 4 to 7 color separation, 4 because the industry was based on 4. So we have customers say, no, you don't have to change. We want the same design that we used to print before. But when we want to take advantage of our higher printing quality, then we propose the 7-color separation, and that will allow the customer to be more flexible because we have more combinations, so we can do co-printing, and we don't have limitations on the inside. So this actually has been a big plus for both us and our clients.
Brilliant, brilliant. So yeah, I mean,
thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Romy. I think that was a great presentation, and you explained it so well for us about the automation part. And I was there in Romy's factory a couple of years back, and he invited me and showed me the entire factory and the automation. And I must say, although I've traveled around the Middle East, it's one of the most automated facilities in the region, I would say. And hats off. I think I'd like to congratulate Romeo for that great accomplishment. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And moving forward, we are going to see, now we saw the aseptic side of the Flexo business, and now we're going to have another very, very interesting side, which is flexible packaging print business. And I have the pleasure of inviting Dharmesh Laveri, who's a general manager of Hotpack, who's in our midst here. And Dharmesh, let me ask you something very interesting, because like Romeo, even you have gone through quite a bit of a curve of understanding Rotogravio and also Flexo as technologies, which have been complementing each other over the years. So please share with us your thoughts. Because you in your previous job also, you have really done a lot of research on CI Flexo before investing in one, and even in this current job, you're working a lot in this particular area. So it's a very interesting analogy to check Roto versus Flexo when it comes to flexible packaging, given the fact that you have multiple layers, you have printability issues, you have so many other challenges, which I will leave it to you to discuss, because it's better to hear it from an expert rather than me.
Yeah, surely, Ben, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Just to before I actually go into the details and why Flexo. Again, I mean, you have several technologies, not only Rotogravure. So within Hotpack, we have several printing technologies. So I would be specifically focusing on the Flexo part of it. So before I move into it, so just to give you a little bit of introduction about Hotpack, we are a pretty young organization, around 25 years now, but we are growing very, very rapidly. And if you just, if you have seen the presentation of Stefano earlier, he has mentioned a lot of products in it which could be managed through Flexo technology. And almost 100% of the products which he had mentioned is something which we cater from Hotpack right now. So we have a wide variety of product ranges that we currently cater to, and a multiplicity as far as complexity is concerned is pretty large. So on Hotpack, we are currently having close to 12 manufacturing sites, 26 branches across the globe. We have 32 sales centers, and it is increasing. In fact, we would be opening one very soon again. And then we have close to 3,500 products. That's where the complexity arises. And close to 2,200 employees, and close to 30 nationalities who work within the organization. So then you can move. So that's about Hotpack. And these are the product categories which I was specifically mentioning to you about that we currently handle. So we have products which actually we use paper, we use we use a lot of wooden material as well. We use plastics. Then the protection and hygienic materials are also produced by us. Aluminium products, like aluminium, is also extensively used for food service, as well as foam products. We have a lot of customization that we do currently, for which we need a lot of variety of print applications. And then we have retail and shelf-ready products, biodegradable products, and the sectors that we currently cater to are mainly the quick service. Restaurants is one of the major areas to which we cater to, and the cafes. We cater to hospitals, logistics companies, event management companies, industrial and consumer packaged good companies, hotels and resorts, then hypermarkets, supermarkets, and of course the new addition is the e-commerce and the home delivery segment. So these are variety of segments that we cater to.
Right.
And if you can move, so I will now jump into the why part. Like when I mentioned that at Hotpack we have variety of print technologies, and including we have offset, we have digital, we have rotogravure, as well as we have Flexo. And within the Flexo we have the line Flexos, we have the stack types, then we have even the CIs. So this is the variety of things. So it is very, very important that when we decide on capexes, we have to have various boxes that we have to make a tick on. So these are a few of the things. Of course there are so many other factors also which we take into consideration, but a few of them that I have tried to list it out to make it simpler for everybody is whether Flexo press is suitable for desired portfolio. So you've seen the complex portfolio that we have. So whether for that portfolio is Flexo suitable, and there is a green tick, a big green tick there as well. Ease of operation, of course, it is quite user friendly. And secondly, what happens is that we can actually get a lot of trained manpower personnel who can operate these presses right now because of the reach which Flexo is right now extending. Third is ability to handle both short and long runs. Stefano's presentation was there. You have also mentioned in your initial remarks. So this is a very, very good option for handling both types of print runs. Economics, for this I have another slide at a later part of my presentation, which are just a few of the aspects which I have compared to a gravure and a Flexo, where how does the economics works when we actually start looking at a Flexo press. Global investment in this technology, we have seen the manufacturing side, people presenting, investing in this technology. Romeo also mentioned about his investment from both converter side, manufacturing side. You talk about the industry in large, so there is a major amount of innovations happening in this technology. So it is forward looking. So there also we expect a green tick to happen on that. And the sustainability part, currently with the new regulations coming in, the single-use plastics and things like that, this is one of the best suitable technologies right now that we can think of to offer material into the markets. The one debatable point is about the print quality. Of course, it is the desired print quality which is needed, which we can actually produce, but you can get better print quality, of course you can. So this is something which is debatable, and we can keep on debating for hours into this part as such. So this is something where I said that, okay, this is something if you can debate about it, but yes, there is an amber tick onto it. So these are the factors that we currently work on, and most of the things actually go into the green light when we actually want to have a capex on a CI or a Flexo technology. And the pictures which you see below are some of the kind of products that we are currently catering to into the markets right now.
Right.
Yeah, you can move to the next one. Yeah, so apart from the why part, once we address, then we also have to actually look at what are the emerging trends which are happening across, I mean, including Middle East, because again, Middle East from here, a lot of converters export into various parts of the world. So we have to actually look at the emerging trends as far as the brand owners are concerned, as far as the consumers are concerned, and how do we address as a converter to take care of those emerging trends. So one of the biggest trends what we see right now is speed to market. I mean, with the changing environment, with so many things happening, nobody had predicted COVID. So these kind of things actually enable what is the speed at which, what is the agility that we can actually bring into the table. So the demands are pretty uncertain. We have to actually be prepared for any kind of eventuality. Second trend that we actually have is we have to produce what could be sold. I mean, we used to have earlier that we would keep enough stocks in our warehouses and things like that, but currently the trends are changing. Money is not so cheap, so we have to produce what we could sell itself. So we cannot keep material printed and laminated and wait for our customers to actually supply us per the requirements, because things are changing. So we have to actually have shorter runs. Shelf ready packaging, ideation, innovation is one of the keys. And another area which you see here is the millennial consumer. So the millennial consumer, one of the things which have actually made a difference is this, their requirement for choices. So the amount of choices which they need are increasing over a period of time. They are also very, very worried about the sustainable packaging. Then again, I mean, we have seen the increase in the e-commerce segment. We have seen the increase in the home delivery. The number of bikes that you see in Dubai every day are increasing day by day. So the home delivery segment is also becoming a major part, and we have to get prepared for catering to those kind of requirements. And of course, the product life cycle, we used to study in our management schools on a product life cycle, which used to be a pretty big one earlier, but now it's just around 3 to 4 months or 5 months max, and the packs keep on changing. And of course, we and the brand owners want to spoil their consumers for choices. And we have already addressed this part where the long runs have become really, really short or ultra short runs.
Right.
And this makes it very, very interesting case for a Flexo investment, because this Flexo addresses most of these concerns.
Sure.
Or the yeah. So if you can move to the next one, Ben. Yeah, so I mentioned to you about the economics part of it. A few things that we did as far as an internal study is concerned, because in the same premises we have a Gravure press as well as a Flexo press. So we ran a similar kind of a job in both these technologies, and we made an analysis just on the plate cost versus the cylinder cost in Gravure. We tend to save close to 40%. On the solvent part of it, there is close to 67% that we save on the solvents. On the inks itself, we save close to 40%. On the wastage reduction during the shade matching, it is 15%. And of course, there is, apart from this, there is an energy saving, which is closer to 25% is what we save. So I mean, when you compare both the technologies, this is the kind of savings that you actually, get out of running it in a Flexo when you compare it to a Gravure.
These are phenomenal figures. Wow. Right.
Yes.
So,
just to give you an example, when we actually, because the type of products that we do at Hotpack, one of the things which makes us different from the others is that we cater to all types of requirements. And as you see it in my earlier slide, that customization choices is becoming very, very important. And
sure.
Within this region, in the disposable segment, in the hot and cold cup segments, we are one of the largest producers here in the Middle East. And within that category itself, what we have tried to do in the market is disrupt it by giving it a lot of customization. So even if somebody is wanting very, very short runs with a certain amount of customization, we are able to handle that. And that is happening only because we have this multiple technologies, and Flexo is playing a major role. And of course, I mean, that's where we are able to cater to this particular demand in changing environment.
Right.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and I would be able to address questions if there are any. So thanks.
Definitely. Ben. Thank you so much, Dharmesh. I think Romeo and Dharmesh, both of you will definitely have a few questions to answer, because it's very interesting to know your take on CI Flexo as a technology. And we are not only speaking here in this webinar, we are also experiencing what these two renowned converters have gone through with this new technology. I wouldn't say new, with this technology which has become more mature now, let's put it that way. So with that, I want to press on with the other panelists. We're going to have a very interesting panel of mix between suppliers, the manufacturers and the converters, right? So now we had the experience of these two important converters. We are going to go through a few complementing products for the CI Flexo technology from these equipment manufacturers who are supporting this. We have chosen very few of them, although Flexo has got a lot of other auxiliary equipment, but we have chosen a few which are very important for the fulfillment of this sprint. To start with, this evening we have in our midst Tito, who is the Anilox Quality and Customer Support Lead for Praxair Surface Technologies, Italy. Welcome, Tito.
Welcome. Hi,
yeah.
Ben.
Hi, Tito. I think the primary, or starting with the plate, which is very important, no doubt, besides the photopolymer Flexo plate, which in itself is a topic to discuss. Moving into the print side of the CI Flexo business, I think Anilox is one of the most important elements that we need to focus on to come out with one of the best quality print, and all the other things attached to it, including your multiple substrates and your sustainability. There's a question I want to ask you, Tito. The Anilox role is a fundamental component to achieve good print quality with Flexo, right? How is it possible to achieve high levels of quality in this process for the multitude of substrates, so many different substrates? And what about the introduction of more sustainable products and equipment, and especially like water-based things? If you can share with us your thoughts, please.
Yeah, good question, Ben. So let me first introduce. I switch my chair with Paolo so you can appreciate my beautiful green shirt. So
okay.
Let me first introduce my company, Praxair, so you can understand where my knowledge comes from. So Praxair Linde is a merger done in 2018 with the two big companies of technical gases, global leaders of the market. It is a $27 billion business company with more than 80,000 employees around the world, with a lot of factories and supports. The main purpose of Linde, of Praxair Linde, is to our slogan is making our world more productive, which means that we have also always to improve our technology, giving support to customers, giving the correct technology in all the products that we can supply. Then to achieve a result and benefits for their own business, and giving them the best quality possible that we can achieve. So it is a kind of mission for Praxair Linde Company. We have a lot of branch. Okay, one of the branches is Praxair Surface Technologies. Praxair Surface Technologies is the branch that gives the plasma coating treatment on surfaces in a lot of different market or different business. If you can go jump on the other slide, Ben.
Sure.
Okay, that's it. So you can see we are into aviation, space, food and beverage, oil and gases. So a lot of different markets. Into this there is printing business. Okay, so where we supply Aniloxes. Why Aniloxes? Because from the gases to the coating, we own the coating technology, and so we develop and invent the Anilox, so you can call it the ceramic coated laser engraved roll. Okay, so a coated roll with ceramic, LC4 for Praxair, and then laser engraved. It is the Anilox that everybody knows. This was in the early 80s, and then we also invented and developed the Anilox sleeve for fast changes into your Flexo. So we are already talking about the fast changes in flexography. So you imagine you can change your metering roll in 1 minute. Okay, so it is very, very fast. Anilox are used principally in Flexo industry, but we also supply it in I don't know, in grabber, in rotor for some specific use, and other markets. Okay, so the Anilox is the metering system, is the roll that can transfer a liquid. Okay, which any kind of viscosity, quite every kind of viscosity, but this is the role of the Anilox. So going deep, if you can go further, thank you. So you have here a sample of how many different shapes of the ingredient. This is a real pictures of the engraving possible from our company, and there are even more, and we are always developing this. Why I show you this? Because you mentioned the different support and different kind of jobs that you can do. So you mentioned sustainability and flexibility. When you use, for example, in Flexo, you can use water-based ink. You can choose the right product, the right Enilox for you. So the Enilox is the core, is the heart beating of the metering system. Okay, you have Dr. Blade chamber, you have the Dr. Blade, so the inking system, and then you have the Enilox who transfer the material, the liquid to the plate. So in flexography, you can very easily change your job changing the plate, okay, and you can very easily changing also the metering system, changing the Enilox. If you use a sleeve, Enilox sleeve, you're very fast. Okay. So how to achieve the quality? I repeat myself. Starting to choose the correct shape of the cells, depending from the job that you have, depending from the material you have to work on, and depending from the ink that you have to use, whether based UV or whatever, solvent based. Even when you use different kind of inks, like the white, or like the if you don't use just inks but varnish, for example. I have experience with the big component varnish for tactile effect, who can be managed by Flexo and through the Enilox too. So you can change, you can jump. So we go. I'm sorry, I'm not a technician. I go very deep into technical details. So jump to another slide, to the next one. Oh, okay. So this is what I'm talking about. On the right side, you have the plate to screen calculator. Okay, so you have from your brand owner, you have the quality, the quality level that you want to achieve. So in pre-press, you have to calculate. You have to do your Romeo told me you have to do your homeworks. Okay, so if you do your homeworks, starting from the quality that you have to achieve, so you choose the plate. So when you have the plate, the number of lines of the plate, you can choose the right screen count of the Enilox, and this is the first step in quality. Okay. Right. Then you have to focus on density. On density, you have depending from the shape of the engraving and depending from the screen counter, a certain possibility to have a volume on Enilox. All these things to say, choose rightly your specification of the Enilox. This will help you a lot, and this give you the possibility to create less waste of material, less stress, and even to save ink. So ink, costs money, huh? So sure. You can go to the last one.
Sure.
Yeah, this is the real sheet. Okay, so this is just to summarize, hoping to answer your main question. So this is very simple. You see on the left the classic, I can say, pyramidal shape of engraving you can find in Roto, for example, and on the right the normal honeycomb, which is the most common in Flexo market, and you see that there is a big difference in area, so in transferring of inks on the same square area. So if you compare these two, these two, which are the very simple ones, you see the benefits in definition, so quality, and also in amount of transferring. So to choose the right specification, the right product, the winning choice.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. I also want to ask you another question, which is one of the main elements of today's webinar. How does Praxis components contribute to the sustainability of the process? In what way does Praxis contribute for sustainability? If you can share with us, please.
Yeah. So the Enilox is not exactly the the more eco-friendly product. So it is a component, you know. But first of all, you have to consider that the Enilox can be refurbished. So you buy new one and then you can refurbish for a certain amount of times, depending from his shape, okay, his condition, okay? How you manage it. You can, okay. So then Enilox, of course, are not eternal. So you have wearing of the Enilox. So you have to check your equipment, and you know, when you can check your equipment, you win, because you can predict the result that you will have. So so you can plan the job run that you have to face, that you have to do, and so this is another question that goes into saving of production in Flexo printing. Then again, I repeat myself. Consider that all the time that you will maintain on changing of jobs, when you just change the blade, or you have also to change just the Enilox in a very fast way. So energy, extraction, and all that stuff.
Right. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Tito, for your insights on Enilox, which is one of the most important elements of Flexo print. Moving forward, I think there's another very important subject that we have for the discussion, which is ink viscosity, and we have in our midst Giuseppe, who is the area sales director for Gamma International. So welcome, Giuseppe.
Thank you.
So Giuseppe, there's a very important element when it comes to ink viscosity. So why do you think viscosity system is so important for the quality of Flexo print? Could you share with us your details? What do you think is the main reason?
Yes. First of all, I would like to speak about Gamma. Gamma is an Italian company, was founded in 1993, and we start to produce viscosimeter for all type of machinery. We supply viscosimeter, of course, for Flexo machine, for gravure machine, for laminator, and other model. The viscosimeter is a very small component, but is very important today in the printing, because with the automatic control of the viscosity, you can control exactly. We can change the viscosity, and with these two parameters, you can have a very good printing, and you can save inks and solvent that are cost. Okay, as I said before, we produce different model. We produce viscosimeter for ink solvent base, after water base, and also for UV inks, and so we sell directly. We sell directly viscosimeter to a printing company. For example, I sold many systems also in Dubai, Emirates, Saudi Arabia, in your area, and we sell directly to press constructor. We sell to my friend here in Kelligebauer. We sold to the other Italian, European press constructor, and we sell also to Far East press supplier as Indian supplier, China, Taiwan, Korea, and so. We start in 1993. We produced the first model that we call drop ball system, because it's a system with a ball that you check the time that the ball go down in the inks. And we use this system for many years. After many years in contact with our customer and our press constructor, we decide to change the model, because this model is a complicated and it need also maintenance, because it's necessary to clean very well. And so for this, some years ago, we start with a new model, with a new idea, that is the vibration system. Vibration system means that you have a disc rotating in the inks, and the vibration, you have a vibration of this disc, and how much the viscosity change also the vibration. This is connected to the viscosity. As I said before, with the viscosimeter, you improve the quality of my material, of the printing, sorry, because when you check manually, I don't know, depend of the technician of the machine, but you know, there are 3 big companies here that when you print, you have many problems with the machine, register, doctor blade, and so. At the end of the story, to check the viscosity is your last problem. No? For this reason, usually, if the machine is running well, you have a time to check many times the viscosity. If you have other problem, the viscosity is your last problem. For this reason, many times you don't have a very good quality, because if you do this job manually, you don't check many times. After this, of course, if you have a good ink viscosity, you can increase the speed. You have also a fast make ready and friendly human interface, because when you start the first production, you check exactly on each color what is the good exact viscosity. After, you can store on the PC all the data, and when you do this job in future, it's not necessary to check again one color by one color, but you have stored before all the number. After this, you have other advantages. For example, you reduce the solvent, and the solvent. If you print solvent base, you can reduce solvent and inks, because you give exactly during the production the exact value of these two. The new viscosimeter, as I said before, is near to zero maintenance, because it's very easy to clean the viscosimeter, because at the end of the production there is an automatic washing system of the viscosimeter. Another good thing is that, especially with European press constructor as Koenig Bauer or other, today the system is integrated in the machine. Means that all the system are integrated on the machine PC. You can see also the value of the viscosity and other. Less material the visco, because today is very simple. It's very simple system.
Okay, thank you, Giuseppe. There's another very important question I want to ask you. As Flexo was the first to use water-based inks, and in line with the green environment request, what kind of solutions has Gamma developed to control the stability of inks during the printing process? If you can share with us what kind of systems you've been following and controlling?
Yes, Flexo start to print with water base in flexible material. I come from gravure market machinery. I remember that 30 years ago, start to print water-based inks in gravure, but only on paper and data special material, not in flexible.
Right.
Flexo start to print with ink water-based, and according to these press suppliers and with ink supplier, we develop also a special viscosimeter that because in ink water-based there are three parts that are very important to check. The first is of course the viscosity, but it's very important to control also the pH and then the temperature of the inks. The pH usually in Flexo water-based inks water-based is approximately 8.5-9, and why is important the pH? Because when the pH decrease, increase the viscosity. This is important. There is a problem with the inks because if the pH decrease can change exactly the resin solubility and change the inks. There are problems with the analogs cell occlusion, and what is important is very difficult to dry when the material when the pH increases. Another important thing also is the temperature. Today is necessary to have all the type of ink, solvent-based and water-based, to maintain in a range of temperature, because if you go out of this range, there are problems about the composition of the inks, and so water-based and also solvent-based, because in this moment we talk about inks water-based, but there are also many Flexo presses that work in ink solvent-based. If you have a solvent, you know that the solvent, there are evaporation, and the evaporation increases a lot when you go up to more, you have a temperature more than 26, 27, 28 degrees. In your country, the temperature are more, and in this case, you have a big evaporation, and big evaporation means that is a problem for the operator, because it is a danger, and also is a money that go outside. For this reason, also in the last years, right, we start to produce also a special system to cool the ink in gravure and in Flexo machine, especially if you have ink solvent base.
Thank you, Joseph. I think that was brilliant. Thank you so much. We'll move on to the next important aspect of Flexo print, where we are going to work on the surface treatment, and we have the pleasure of inviting Claudia Benelli, who's a general manager for Ferrarini and Benelli, Italy. Welcome, Claudia.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good to see you. And I just want to ask you a very important question, Claudia, before we go into the details of your presentation and to share your thoughts. It's been a very important aspect of the entire process, which is surface treatment. So what is the relationship between Corona treatment system, like the ones designed and manufactured by Ferrarini and Benelli, and the Flexo printing technology in general? If you can share your thoughts on that, please, that'll be great.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to give me this opportunity to show you the relationship between Corona treatment and Flexo. We in Ferrarini and Benelli are designing and manufacturing surface treatment systems since 1965. So we have 55 years of experience that help us to introduce the need of Corona in Flexo printing. Mainly, we produce Corona treatment for flexible packaging and plasma treatment for plastic parts, three-dimensional parts. There are more than 11,000 systems installed all around the world and produced by Ferrarini and Benelli. And thanks to this expertise, we can develop customized solutions and to find the best application of Corona and plasma treatment. We can follow customers all around the world thanks to our agent network. And so let's go back to your question, how Corona treatment in flexible packaging can help in Flexo. The purpose of Corona treatment is to increase the surface energy of plastic films. If you go to the next slide, Ben, you can see that generally plastic films have a low surface energy, and the purpose of Corona treatment is to bring this low surface to high surface energy. In this way, the inks can adhere to the substrate where we want to put them. And in general, plastic films, but also aluminum foils, metallized films are not very receptive to this bonding. So this is why we need to enhance the surface energy. And what does the Corona discharge? If you can go on the next slide, we have to remember that all the plastic materials, they generally are treated at extrusions in order to achieve a high surface energy. But during the time passing between the extrusion process and the converting process, that in this case we are talking about Flexo, but also this is can be said also for laminating and coating, there is a decrease of the surface energy. And we have mentioned before that the quality of the print is very important in Flexo, but we cannot achieve a good quality if the bonding between the ink and the plastic film is not good enough. And you can imagine how many bad consequences that could be if this bonding is not good. It's not only effect of quality of print, but also maybe a failure to comply with law or to customer technical specification. Then also that could bring to waste of materials and so waste of money. So it is very important we can treat by Corona treatment all these materials, plastic films or whatever, and bring them back to the correct surface energy in order to avoid losing money and waste of materials. And how can we make this? You can go to the next slide. We made it by means of what we call a reinstatement of treatment, because basically all plastic materials have been treated in extrusion. So as we mentioned before, they can lose their value because of additives and sleep agents that grows up to the surface. So we need to make a booster corona treatment in line in the Flexo press. This will bring to recover materials that have a decreased surface energy and to bring them back to the correct surface energy. We can see from this chart that we can treat a lot of materials, because this is also a main point of the Flexo process. The flexibility and the possibility to treat on plastics, PE, polypropylene, or whatever, metallized films, alufoil, paper. This is one of the main points of Flexo. So each material, as you can see, reacts under the corona discharge in a different way. So we need to apply different power density to different materials in order to achieve the correct surface energy. And this is how a corona treatment supplier can help customers in developing the correct process in Flexo, that is to choose the correct power we need for treating all types of materials, the correct type of electrodes, and to adjust the power automatically to the speed of the line, that also can be different depending on the materials. And if we have so many materials starting from plastics to metallized, we suggest to use what we call the universal corona treatment system that can treat all types of material. And this is also flexibility that the corona systems can make. So we, as Ferrarini and Benelli, we try to calculate the correct combination of all these parameters, and the system can be, of course, installed on any type of Flexo printing line, and it can be adjusted to the speed automatically and to all the materials we'd like to treat.
Right. Thank you, Claudia. I think there are a couple of new questions which have come in from our audience, which we will address to you during the Q&A. All right, so we'll move on to that part a little later. There are some very interesting questions coming up for you, so we'll talk about it after the last presentation from one of the panelists, which is we have with us right now Paolo De Grandis, who is the Director for Graphic Control Systems. And Paolo, I think you are completing this loop now with so many important suppliers who spoke to us now, starting with Corning and Bohr, and then we had the analogs from Praxair, then we had viscosity control systems from Gamma, and then we had Ferrarini and Benelli speaking on the corona treatment, the surface treatment. And last but not least, I think it's a very important part that you cover, which is the quality control system and inspection. So if I can ask you, Paolo, how graphic control responds to the constant demand from customers to improve print quality. That's a big challenge right now. And at the same time, as you increase or enhance your print quality, you need to reduce your waste, and also you have to increase your productivity and efficiency. So through your systems, how are you able to accomplish or achieve this? If you can share us your thoughts, please.
Okay, first of all, good afternoon to everybody. Since I'm the last one, I'm trying to be to try to concentrate everything. So graphic control, who is graphic control? We are the guys who are checking if the job done in every process is properly made. So we do quality control systems. Graphic control for the 52 years been developing and manufacturing press controls. In the last 20 years, we concentrated in in inspection equipment, and especially we follow the trend of the markets, and in the last 15 years we follow the trend of Flexo, which improved a lot. I think Flexo grown in the market, improving performance, quality, and for that process we developed more equipment than any other segment. So there was a request in the Flexo at the very beginning. Let's say was the ugly sister in the printing market, but now evolving so fast and so quick, it became head-to-head with higher quality processes like gravure and offset. So according to that, we developed the equipment to control the quality, which are inspection equipment, inline color controls, and so forth. So for that, yeah, you can go to the next. That we gain market share. So with all this equipment, we could move away from our, extend our borders, and so we could reach through our distributors, agents, and local services in many countries. So you can go to the next one. We introduced since we were covering many branch of the printing industry. We introduced the concept of total quality control. So it's not only embracing the let's say the process, but also the different step in the printing industry. So we supply inspection equipment for printing, from lamination, for slitting, for different processes also like digital, gravure. But not only that, we are also providing services in terms of pre, during, and post installation with remote service and spare parts for the following at least 15 years after installation. You can go to the next. So as I said, we are covering with this concept every aspect of a converting industry. So how to improve, your question is how to improve the quality. For us, improving the quality is adding some electronic eyes into every single process, because the human eye is not so fast to catch the defects that every process creates for whatever reason. Can be a printing process, can be a substrate process, can be anything that happens in every single process. You must have something, a device that catch the defect and is able to communicate to the following process that something happens. Because the problem is, if you can go to the next one, the problem, for example, in a typical process, we are printing, lamination, slitting. The problem is yes, catching a defect in every single phase, but the most important is being able to remove the defect and not delivering a product to a customer with defects. So all the phases that you can see in these slides, we can intervene by putting a device that catch the defect and then communicate with a concentrator of data in order to communicate where the defect is. Just an example, when we laminate a printed roll, we have from one roll maybe 2 rolls. It's difficult for the operator then to know where the defect is, the location of the defect. You can go on the next one. And these are just typical installation. For example, on top left, we have previous. On the top left, we have a typical installation on a Flexo press where we have 100% area camera and inline spectra. That's very important because certain things you can only measure at the end of your roll, but during production, very difficult. So for both print inspection, but also maintaining the color. So the only way to maintaining the color is measuring while you're running. And there's a dedicated device like the inline spectrophotometer to do that. Then we are also on the blown film extrusion. So because also that phase you might create defects on the substrate. Then we got the next step on the lamination. Also, when you laminate 2 layers, you might have some problems. And then on the slither. So there's on the slither, we need to be able to stop the machine and remove the defect that you don't want to deliver to the final customer.
Right.
If you consider, for example, if you consider how here how we improve the efficiency and also the let's say the sustainability. You consider a roll. Yes. A roll contains a lot of defects coming, as I said, from different processes, from a substrate or for the process itself, okay, during the working of that roll. So to avoid or to, let's say, to increase the quality of your production, if you go to the next, we've been using the concept of Industry 4.0 from pre-printing, from pre-press until the last stage, which is the slitting, going through the lamination. What that means that all the different processes are communicating between each other. If you go to the next, so in our case is getting information from every single process and let's say concentrating the data, distributing the data to the next processes, avoiding producing more waste, which translates in complaints, friction between printer and customer, and the opposite of sustainability. Because if you deliver not conformity with a product with not conformity to a final customer, you may have a rejection. So you have or reprint or you have to dispose of the material. So this is our concept of increasing efficiency and maintain sustainability.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Paolo, for your insights. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a wonderful, a journey for us to go through from the machine itself, which is the CI press from Corning & Gore and all the auxiliary equipment. And to complement that, we had these converters, IPAC and HotPack, who gave us their thoughts. And we have got quite a few questions during this process. But in the meantime, I would like to request my colleague Vikram to go through his questions. He also has got a few questions, I suppose. So Vikram, if you could go through some of your questions quickly. In the meantime, I'm going to compile quite a few questions which have come here for us to ask. So Vikram, please, if you can go ahead and introduce the questions to the audience, to the panelists, please. Sorry.
Sure, I have a question for Claudia. It's about, we would like to understand better how Ferrarini and Benelli is preparing itself for Industry 4.0.
Yes, we are surely making this path too. As you know, the control of the parameters of a corona generator are very important, and nowadays it is possible to control these parameters from the line. So, for example, if you install the corona treating unit on the Flexo printing line, it is possible to control and monitoring all the data from the main PC of the line. But for the future, we are also going to give the possibility to the customers to connect the generators to the cloud, and so to have a kind of monitoring from any kind of devices, and also to record data, and this is for data analytics. So this is the way we are developing these new technologies. Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much. I have another question, which is from a brand owner. This is to all the panelists and nobody in particular. So it is, what are the solutions available for good printability, aesthetic value, branding on monofilms without impacting food security? Is the question clear? And would any one of you want to take it?
Without impacting what? Sorry.
Without impacting food security.
Food. Okay.
Security.
So essentially, how do you make the print more vibrant? Okay, particularly on monofilms.
Yeah, I mean, I can just talk about that. I mean, as I mentioned before, we can, what we supply today is the machine ready to accept different types of ink. And what we're doing today is to also to respect some rules in particular countries. So using water-based in many substrates for us is water-based inks, sorry, in many substrates for us is the best solution in this case, especially if the substrate will be in contact with food. But there are also other type of inks that today are more, can say, more without impacting this problem, like UV LED, for instance.
Low migration.
Of course.
Wonderful. Vikram, I'll take a couple of questions and then you can come up with a couple from your side. Let's take it that way before we, go to the last phase. So we've got many questions, so we need to be a bit quick. So kindly bear with me. So there's a very interesting question. It's my question also. It's from one of the prominent brand owners here in the region, from PepsiCo. Shamim Sheikh is asking this question: why Flexo is less in the Middle East and Africa? Why can't you increase the number of Flexo machines here? I also have the same question.
Questa è tua, interesting question. The trend, of course, I mean, the trend is to follow what has already happened in Europe or in the US. But what we are saying that the request of the Flexo machines is growing up year by year. So we are, I mean, we are far, of course, of the number that we see nowadays in Europe, in the US, but there are also many also internal reasons. Can be like political, economical reasons that cannot help us in new project in the last years.
Right.
There is also Ben. There is also another question, I think. You know better than me that today in Emirates or in Saudi Arabia, all the printers are from India. India is generally a gravure market. If you can, if you like, have a good printer in Flexo in India is not easy. For this reason, today Middle East is, but also Middle East. Don't forget that there is a country that is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is more Flexo than auto. Saudi Arabia is more Flexo than Gravure. But the problem of the printer is a problem in Middle East because all the printers come 90% from India.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Joseph. There's a question coming in from Zishan Asif. My question to Romeo about flexible packaging, that how you guys are able to communicate print tolerances to customers like shade changes, dot gain, and in long run jobs, color to color registration. How are you able to manage this challenge?
If we talk about color registration, actually with the CI is not an issue at all, because the CI, you set your registration at the beginning, and then it stays there. That's actually the beauty of CI versus the inline Flexo that is mostly used in our industry. Sorry, I didn't understand the rest of the question about the other parameters, but can you repeat them, Ben?
That's the main point. I think he's talking about the color registration. That's the main point that he's talking about.
No, I mean, the CIs are fantastic when it comes to color registration. And for us, having adopted the seven color separation process is even more important, because then we match the whole image, even for the special colors. So and we know that if there is an off register, then you will also get color issues. So, you will, the shade will also change. So CIs are a big
right. Romeo, dwelling on the same topic of color, there's a question coming in from Fadi. He's asking, sorry, it's from Fadi. Yes, how stable is extended color gamut in IPAC? How stable is it when you do ECG printing?
It's stable provided you do your homework, as Tito was saying earlier. You need to do your homework when it comes to your analogs, keeping them clean, since we're talking about analogs here. You need to do your homework doing your fingerprint for the machine at least yearly, if not even more often. You need to control your ink viscosity, as Gamma has told us earlier. You need to control your ink densities. You need to control your color separation, your plate suppliers. So now, for example, we use an external plate supplier, but we have to have constant meetings with them to make sure that they adopt the right curves, and we have constant interactions. For example, we have taken a decision to standardize the analogs and basically standardize everything. So you need to standardize, and if when you print the first time something is wrong, like in the old days, I remember when we were printing in the old days, we were basically adjusting the ink. You were adding a little bit here, a little bit there to make the shade. That is not good, because then we'll. So what you have to do, you have to go back to your color separation, make the adjustments, and reset the new plates. So you need to have a system in place, and you need to be thorough. If you do that, then the results are great. For us, we started like that from the very beginning. So everybody complied. We got actually big support from all the suppliers, and I would say today we are very successful. But if you don't do that, then it can be really problematic.
Right. There's a question. Thanks, Romeo. There's a question for Claudia. Claudia, can we corona treat and boost surface energy on an untreated LDPE material while printing on lamination? If so, what dyne level can we achieve? Manu Murli Krishnan is asking this question.
Okay. The best thing will be to treat on already pre-treated films. Pre-treated. This is the correct way to process a material. Sometimes I know there is the need to treat a material that has never been pre-treated before, and in this case you have to consider that the result mainly depends on the composition of the PE you are using, especially if it contains sleep agents or additives. So as more sleep it contains, the more difficult will be to achieve a higher surface energy level, and higher will be the power we need to use. So in general, it is better to use pre-treated materials. If it is not, you can achieve it, but using maybe a double power or maybe more, and this has to be tested on materials. We also have a laboratory where we can test the samples of materials that the customer can send us, and I guess that about 38 dynes it is possible to reach. For higher surface energy, it has to be tested because it can really depend on the composition and the behavior of a polyethylene. It is difficult to foresee.
Thank you, Claudia. Darmesh, there's a question from Shamim for you again, from Pepsi. Is Hotpack doing laminated films? He's asking you this question.
Yes, we do laminated films as well. And then again, on the lines of Pepsi itself, we are working on a project on the similar lines itself right now, on moving from rotogravure to a Flexo, so which is something which is quite interesting.
Right. Okay, here's a question from Pradeep Duldule. What is the best cell structure for water-based and UV varnish for IML, in-mold labeling? Can somebody take this? Cell structure, I think Tito can take that.
I think it's mine, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
please,
so along the cells structure are best for this kind of materials. So when you work with water-based inks, you have to consider the viscosity, but also the ink formula. Okay, all the resins that are contained. So you need to transfer, have a better efficiency of the structure of the cells. So in filling and emptying of the cells. So if you have a correct shape of the cell, and long cells gives you this possibility to fill it and to empty without the problem to become clogged. Okay, to have clogged cells. And so to waste your volume of the cells. So long cells in general. So I can talk about Spark cells one. So Nova Silver, for example, are the right one. Better than honeycomb, of course.
Right. Thank you, Paolo. There's a question for you. To which software the inline spectrophotometer reports data during live production?
The data are continuously collected. I mean, the inline spectrophotometer, I would like to clarify, it can scan on the image or on dedicated scale. And the scale can be designed according to the customer. What we do is, in case we use the scale, which is the recommended solution for a better data collection, we can create a chart record of LABs, delta E, dot gain density, and the format we can put the data can be can be created in the format the customer wants. So we are very open in transferring, in collecting the data and transferring with in the matter that the customer wants. There's no restriction.
Right. Thank you. There's one question that I'll ask, and then I'll ask my colleague Vikram to go ahead with a couple of questions. There's so many questions, but we can't take all of them as we are also running out of time. So we'll take 3 or 4 more questions maximum. This is one question coming in from Mr. Pradeep Agarwal of Flex Middle East. So he's asking where open cells and long cell structures would be, or where can you use long and open cell structures? Tito, I think it's for you again.
Yeah, it is similar to the previous one, so I can complete the previous one too. Long cells are used for different reasons. So first of all, depending from the inks. Okay, if you have a water-based, or if you want to print and achieve a certain density, maintaining a certain high level screen count. Okay, so you need more density because you're, I don't know, you're printing on paper, for example, so which is absorbing, it is an absorbing media, so you need more transferring of inks. So with long cells you can do it. Okay, you can achieve this without decrease the screen count. This is the first point. The second one is depending from the viscosity itself of the ink that you're using. The previous question was regarding varnish too. Okay, if you have to transfer varnish, it depends from the viscosity. If the viscosity is high, it is better to use a reverse engraving open cells, okay, or at least long cells. Because with the honeycomb, you will lose immediately your volume. Okay, you start with 10 and you immediately go to 7 or 6. So it is a waste of time, money, and volume too. So better to focus on what you need, which is the technical details of the liquid that you have to transfer, and then choose with the help of the Enilox producer the correct shape.
Yeah, thank you very much. Vikram, can you go ahead with your questions, please?
Yeah, Ben, I have only one more question,
okay.
Which is again from a brand owner. It's from a friend, and he's asking, what are the consumer trends in Europe and how the premiumness can be achieved if that is required? So this is again specifically to Flexo Technica, KBA.
Sorry, can you repeat? Sorry.
What are the consumer trends in Europe with regards to adding premiumness into the print? So any special inline finishes or inline varnishes that can be done to make the package look more premium?
Yeah. I mean, we received many requests concerning varnish and coating, of course. And what we are proposing is always the downstream inline for this type of application, especially with machines with 8 or 10 colors, like Flexo for water and solvent, with a downstream unit with Roto or Flexo printing technology. So both applications for coating and varnish. This one is one of the more popular requests that we received recently.
Okay, all right, brilliant. So we have at least another 15 to 20 more questions which are lined up, but I think we've run out of time. So what we will do is, like in our report in the magazine in the coming edition, we'll address all of them. But as for now, I will hand over to my colleague Vikram to do the final takeaway and the summary, which is very, very important for us. What did we learn out of this webinar, all of us? Vikram, if you can summarize it for us, please.
Sure, Ben. So I think one of the most glaring takeaways from today's session is that Flexo is no pushover. It's no more the ugly sister, and continues to challenge gravure on its turf in terms of print quality, versatility, sustainability. And another key takeaway is the factory of the future will look quite different from traditional print houses in terms of technology and automation. Now, I would like to summarize what each of the presenters, have presented, and I will try to distill the thoughts and the exchanges from the last 90 minutes into 5 minutes. So please excuse my ignorance. Now, I'll start with Stefano from KBA. He jumped right into the ring, punching and kicking at the central idea of the debate, which was why Flexo over Roto. He put it together beautifully in 3 succinct points. So the first was flexibility, the second was productivity and efficiency, and the third was sustainability. In terms of flexibility, he was talking about being able to support various ink systems, such as solvent-based, water-based, UV, E-beam, and hybrid, and also to support a diverse range of substrates, such as films, paper, board, non-woven, breathable film, foil, and many others. In terms of productivity and efficiency, there was a mention about rapid changeovers of both the ink systems, which could take up to 2 hours, and complete job changes where no ink system is being changed, which can be done in a matter of minutes. Then finally, sustainability, which again remains the mainstay of Flexo because of the lowest emissions amongst print processes of its kind. And then during his presentation, he concluded with information about KBA's initiatives in the area of IoT and services, and how the KBA is getting prepared for the automatic factory of the future. After this, we had a very interesting presentation from Romeo of IPAC, and he shared his experience as the largest independent converter of paperboard for aseptic packaging in the region. In fact, on IPAC, we can make a lot of case studies on automation in production, case studies on how to standardize print and implement expanded color gamut. Romeo spoke about the Equinox color separation system and how that has helped him and the company achieve 4 and 7 color standardized jobs, which means no ink changes, and they seldom use any spot colors, so faster job changeovers. And another key point that he spoke about was the electronically managed material handling system with KUKA robots that has streamlined the shop floor. And I can surely say that IPAC has been a forerunner in the aseptic carton business by adopting CI technology over the more well-accepted inline technology at the moment, and today is reaping the benefits of all its technology decisions. After this, we had another presentation from a converter, and this time it was Dharmesh from Hotpack, and he made a very interesting key argument and established a relationship between the millennial mindset and the case for flexography. So this is the first time I've heard such an interesting idea. So the millennial mindset, as we all know it, is all about short attention spans and fleeting ideas. And this translates into packaging, having faster to market packaging, smaller run lengths, and shorter product life cycles, which tie in very well to the aspect of Flexo ease of operation. Another very insightful point that came out of Dharmesh's presentation was the comparison that he drew between Gravure and Flexo, where he pointed out the cost savings when moving from cylinders to plates, which could be up to 40%, and the savings on solvents, which can be up to 67%. And of course, also the lower ink pickup that is required, which is another 40%. So all of this put together, and then wastage reduction during shade matching, because this was in fact also stated by another speaker that when you set up the job in CI, then it just stays registered, just stays. There's not a lot that you have to do in there. So all of this put together makes Flexo a very efficient technology, which needs to be looked at very carefully. Then we went on to the section where, you know, we had presentations from all of the, you know, providers of ancillaries and accessories for the Flexo process. We started with Tito from Praxair, and, you know, true to the motto of Praxair, making the world more productive, Tito underscored the importance of the supplier-printer partnership, the importance of consulting and education in the delivery of Anilox rolls, because there is a proliferation of choices in Anilox rolls with different cell depths, geometries, angles, materials, etc. And what is important is to make the right choice depending on the ink system that is being used, whether it is UV or solvent or the emerging ink systems like water-based and etc. After that, we had a presentation from Giuseppe of Gamma, and he, you know, explained the adverse impact of variability in ink pH, ink temperature, and viscosity on print performance. So he also highlighted the vibration torsion measurement based system for viscosity measurement, which has replaced the earlier falling ball system due to its efficacy and reliability. Finally, adding the importance of partnership with ink and equipment suppliers to continuously evolve the product to meet the latest requirements for sustainability, water-based inks, and the need for always being connected via Industry 4.0. After that, we had the pleasure of listening to Claudia Benelli from Ferrarini and Benelli. And in her PPT, she presented the relationship between substrate, surface energy, and wettability. Now, this is a very important idea, because clearly, if you can't wet the substrate, then you cannot print. So this becomes particularly important in the case of newer generation ink systems, which require significantly higher levels of surface activation or energy. However, with their 55 years in the business and more than 11,000 units sold worldwide, Ferrarini and Benelli have the necessary know-how to continue to support the industry in its time of change. After that, we had the final presenter, which was Paolo from Graphic Control, and in his own words, they are the guys that check if the job is being properly done. So what a nice way to, you know, summarize the role of quality inspection. He gave us a complete overview of the TQC 360, which ties in passive web video, inline inspection, print registration, spectral color measurement, and the entire workflow system, which brings the whole thing together, connecting various operations on the print floor. This, of course, ties in very well to the idea of the print factory of the future. And Paolo summed it up very well with his one sentence, that it is easy to detect, but it is not easy to correct. And this, you know, but with this, we can say that fragmented approaches to quality management will fall short in the Flexo factory of the future. So with this, I hope I've done justice to all of the speakers, and yeah, that's it, Ben.
Thank you so much, Vikram, for your for a summary. That was brilliant. Thank you. We'll be putting the entire webinar together in the form of a technology feature in the next edition of Packaging MEA magazine, where we'll be explaining all that these experts in this panel have spoken, including the questions which we could not answer also. We have more than 15 to 20 questions which are still lined up. We have already crossed more than 30 minutes more than our regular time, but then it's fine because it's really an engaging discussion that we have been having. So what we're going to do now is like we're going to put the whole thing together and share it with all of you. Those of you who could not view this also, I mean, they can also view this. At the same time, the report will come through the publication, which is in print and also online. So from my side, just to complement what Vikram had summarized, it's been a wonderful time. And thank you, gentlemen, and Claudia, for your valuable insights and your time, setting aside for the Middle East and Africa converters and brand owners. So what I would request is, like, if we can have this kind of an engaging conversation to educate ourselves and also to learn from each other. This is what Packaging MA is all about. We are just a platform on which we want to bring all the experts like you together and make sure that we learn more. So Flexo, just to wrap up, I would say that yes, this is going to coexist with Rotogravure. That's my thought. I would say Roto is not going to vanish away completely. It's going to exist. It's going to coexist along with Flexo, which is also going to grow in the Middle East and Africa region, given the many possibilities and opportunities that the people over here shared, including your quality and your cost and so many other factors, including sustainability. So we look forward for many more upgrades to these technologies within flexible packaging print for brand owners to take advantage of. So with that, I would like to say thank you very much to everybody. So till we meet again, we'll be having another series of webinars within the flexible packaging space shortly. And thanks very much once again for all our panelists and above all to our attendees as well. And we look forward to seeing you very soon again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.